Saints fans, here is why you should subscribe, and you should do it right now because we're bringing you guys daily videos about the Saints, news, previews, game recaps, and much more. We're called Chat Sports for a reason. We love to be interactive with our content, give you guys some shout-outs, and we're giving you guys Saints videos by Saints fans. Producer Trace is a lifelong Saints fan. My family is from Louisiana. Dad grew up in Lafayette, and it's 100% free. Go down, subscribe to the channel right now. You know what day it is, Overreaction Monday. I'm Will Scott with Saints Now by Chat Sports, and these are definitely interesting after a loss, especially a loss against a really crappy football team like the Carolina Panthers. So we're going to get into some overreactions and bring producer Trace in a second. Let's talk about our first one here. Is Jameis Winston back to being his old self? We saw yesterday him throw for a couple hundred yards, but he did throw a couple interceptions as well. Here's what he's done this season: 65% completion percentage, 858 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. So last season, he was playing really well until the torn ACL. This season, not so much, Trace.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to bring up the overall stats of his seasons thus far, because, he's had random here and there. It's like, oh, well, he has a bunch of yards, but a couple of interceptions, or he has a touchdown or no, or whatever it is. But, the story as a whole, I feel like, is best told through the stats of the entire season. And I just was looking at highlights, and I was rewatching game film and stuff this morning, and one thing I really noticed was Jameis Winston wasn't really doing a great job of surveying the field, looking at his options, looking at his 1, 2, 3, maybe even hitting his check down. I mean, I saw a couple different times where he had a tight end or a receiver hitting like a little slant, but then he decided to maybe shoot that deep shot for Jarvis, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, whoever it was that he was trying to air it out to. But there was multiple times I'm like, look around, survey the field, hold another big one. He hold on to the ball too long, let go, let it rip, get the ball to the guy. We know that he can accurately put the ball where he needs to when he needs to, but recently he's been overthrowing guys. He's kind of just been looking sloppy. He just looks distracted. He looks very distracted. He looks like he isn't in 100% control, in my opinion, and I understand that people may not agree, but I think that he doesn't look like he's in control, and it looks like there's just not a lot of great communication going on, and I believe that if there's a big spark that they can get, and they can get that juice going on the offense, then we'll be able to see Jameis, his confidence rise, and he'll be able to hit those deep shots. He'll be able to do what we signed him to do re-signed him in the offseason to do. It's just frustrating. I'm getting very frustrated because I'm a huge Jameis guy. I love Jameis Winston, but I just can't help it.
Greatest quarterback of all time.
He is the greatest quarterback of all time. Name a better workout regime or workout routine. You can't, because there isn't one.
Facts.
I'm just saying, it's really frustrating. I love Jameis Winston, but he's starting to show a lot of signs of the Bucs Jameis that we took advantage of quite a bit.
Couldn't agree more. Guys, let me know who should start against the Vikings in London. Jameis Winston, or that was a terrible British accent. Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton, type JW for Jameis, or type AD for Dalton down in the comment section. Also want to give some shout-outs to the Noti Gang, Slim Jim, Hiram Dunaway Jr., and Vincent Meisel. We appreciate you. You related to my guy Carson Meisel? Let me know down in the comment section. Slim Jim, Hiram Dunaway, and Vincent. Appreciate all of you subscribing to the channel, turning on notifications. Guys, if you turn on your noties, you're going to get an alert every single time we put out a video. It's the best way to stay in the loop with your New Orleans Saints. So go down, hit that noti bell, turn your notifications to all. Let's talk about our next overreaction. Do the Saints need to make a QB change? I wouldn't say bench Jameis, but I would say get him healthy. And if that means starting Andy Dalton in London, then yeah, because I don't think Jameis is healthy right now, and that's affecting his play. Here's Catherine Terrell said after the game. Dennis Allen said, looking to make a quarterback change, said everyone has to play better. So that's something that DA said after the game. I don't disagree, but it's pretty clear that Jameis is not 100%. Here are some trade targets. I really like Gardner Minshew, man. I like Gardner Minshew. To be honest with you, if you trade for Minshew, I think you win a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's a little bit of an overreaction, but Yeah, it's Overreaction Monday. Thank you, Producer Trace. But I really like Minshew. I do not like Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is that good. I think he's very washed. In fact, I think he's the third best quarterback on that team in Miami. Tyler Huntley's pretty solid backup, as well as Taylor Heineke. So those are names to monitor here. But if Jameis ends up being out long term, if the injury continues to get worse, then maybe you trade for one of these guys. Look, I mean, I do not want Jameis to get benched. I hate that idea too, but then something needs to be done because Jameis is not 100%. I'm not saying bench Jameis Winston for Andy Dalton for the rest of the year. I'm saying let Andy Dalton play until Jameis is 100%. Our next overreaction. Dennis Allen in year one as head coach. Is his seat warming up with the Saints? It's too early to say that. We're 3 games in to this season. I wouldn't say don't panic quite yet. I mean, you look at both the 2017 and 2020 teams, they started the season 1-2. They ended up making the playoffs and having a really good year. So I'm not hitting the panic meter yet. Here's what DA said. We're beating ourselves. We're beating ourselves with penalties. We're beating ourselves turning the football over. That's got to stop. Triz, your thoughts here on DA?
So overall, I think our biggest issue it does come down to coaching. I think, like you said, it's way too early to say is his seat actually getting hot? Should he be fired? Excuse me. No, he shouldn't. It's week 3. We're coming up on week 4. It is way too early to say to fire Dennis Allen. But what I can say is there's a lot of issues, there's a lot of decisions, like why Jameis Winston isn't playing or why he didn't get thrown in at why it's just baffling to me. We need to see what he can do in these kind of crunch situations. And I think that that is part of the growing pains of having a first-year head coach with the new team. I mean, he was a head coach with the Raiders, wasn't very successful with them. Now he's with us or with the Saints, and he had a pretty nice offseason, I'll say. I was pretty happy with it. I think the Who Dat Nation as a whole was happy, but we get to see how resilient this team is. And if you ask me, this is exactly why you brought in Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry during the offseason. I mean, these guys are bona fide leaders. They're bona fide ballers. They're great football players, and they know how to lead and be a good veteran presence in a locker room. And I think that having guys like them brings a lot of value. You got to lean on your leaders like Demario Davis, like Jameis Winston at times, like Michael Thomas at times, like Tyrann Mathieu, Jarvis Landry, like we were saying. You got to lean on these guys to help your team get back on track. Because, yes, the coaching can do so much. You can go into meetings. You can go to practice. You can do all the reps. You can do everything you can. But at the end of the day, in my personal experience in playing sports, I've always learned and taken more from when my teammates in the locker room, hey, you got to get this figured out. We need you. We're counting on you. You need to do this. And, man, I love Dennis Allen. We all love Dennis Allen here at Saints now. I think he, as of right now, I don't think he has any reason to be on the hot seat 100%. But if things aren't changing, maybe this is a conversation we bring up later again in the season. Again, it's Overreaction Monday. We love you, Dennis Allen, but let's figure it out. I'm tired of losing. I would like to see us have a couple wins because winning is a lot more fun. I've always liked winning more, but that's just me. I don't know about you, Will.
I would agree with you there, Triz. I really would. Big game on Sunday in London. What do you think of? I don't know why I'm saying London like that. What do you think of Dennis Allen as the head coach? Let me know down in the comment section. Let me know how much faith you have in DA right now. I have a lot of faith in Chris Olave, man. He's the future for this football team. He looked outstanding against the. We'll talk about it in a minute. Thanks, Trace. Look outstanding against Panthers. First, let's tell you about this great deal we're giving you here through BetUS. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125, then you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. That means if you put $100 in, you're going to get 125 additional cash to bet with. Great deal. You go bet on the Saints to win the NFC South if you're feeling ballsy after the 1-2 start. Plus 500. The Panthers are plus 825, and the Falcons way down there at plus 2,000. The Bucs right now, the overwhelming favorite to win the division. But still long season. The Saints just one game back because the Bucs lost to the Packers. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125. Here's what Olave's done thus far in his rookie season through 3 games. Still looking for that first tutty, but that's going to come. 268 yards, 15.8 yards per catch. He's had 17 receptions. He's on pace to finish the season with almost 100 catches, with over 1,500 yards. So that's a fantastic rookie start for him. Bill Groman set the rookie receiving yards record with 1,473 yards in 14 games in 1960. So maybe Groman's on the hot seat. We'll see what happens. But Chris Olave, certainly a fantastic start for him. Do you think he's the best rookie wide receiver, Trace?
Dude, I think he might be. He's looking good.
Yeah,
Drake London looks good, too. I'll give him credit there.
Yeah.
Drake London looks really, really good. But Chris Olave is looking great. I'm very impressed with what I've seen out of him. I'm very happy with what I've seen. Treylon Burke, I went to Arkansas. I'm an idiot. Treylon Burks hasn't really looked all that great with the Titans.
He's not even the best rookie wide receiver on that team. That's Kyle Phillips.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of bad. But Treylon Burks isn't looking all that good. George Pickens has been kind of quiet. Obviously, Jameson Williams isn't
one catch was nice.
Yeah, that was incredible. What are you going to do about that? But I just think that Chris Olave, across the board of having a really talented wide receiver group in this last draft class, Chris Olave's looked amazing. I'm very excited to see what we can do with him in the long term in the next few years. I think he's just an absolute dog that's going to do nothing but, great things for the Saints. I feel like he could be the next big number 12, or he's going to be number 12 just like Marcus Colston. He's going to wear that number well. He's going to be feeling good. I'm just so happy with that.
He's better than Colston,
Chris
man.
Olave, man.
He's
Great.
up. He's been fantastic. Guys, if you love Chris Olave, go down and type 12 in the comment section. I want to see it spammed down there in the comment section. Type 12. Whoever comments the most going to get a shout out on a future show. Our next overreaction. Is this team just not good? What do you guys think? Is this team not very good? I think it's too early for that. I would not say they're a terrible football team. The roster's great. I mean, look at the talent across the roster, but playing one good quarter of football in the first 3 games is unacceptable. That was the fourth quarter against Atlanta. They come back from a 26-10 deficit in week 1, win 27-26. But after that, the offense has been non-existent. So the offense has got to pick it up. Everyone needs to be better. It's still early in the season. You're only 1 game back in the division. Tampa Bay's 2-1. You're 1-2. Carolina's 1-2. Atlanta's 1-2. You're going to be fine. There's a lot of time left, but this weekend is huge against Minnesota. It's pretty close to being a must-win. It really does feel like a must-win against a talented Minnesota team that is 2-1 after their first 3. Here's what Saints offensive lineman Ryan Ramczyk said. We have a resilient group here. I know there's not anyone who's doubting this team in this locker room. We're going to regroup, and we're going to look at what we did and what we need to improve on and be ready to go next week in London. I'm just going to keep saying it like that. What's your panic level with the Saints? Scale it 1 to 100 down in the comments section.